There is a mirror in front of you, more than 2 meters high and 1 meter wide, carved from a single spar, crystal clear, clean and flawless. Wait, does this description sound familiar? The eyebrows that are not pointed and green. The unstained lips. That snow-white complexion. The long hair like splashing ink. Who is the sissy in the mirror of Nima? Zi Cheshul looked blankly at the unidentified man and woman in the mirror, and fell into a kind of worry. Should he be glad that what he should not have above still does not have what he should have below, or should he shout "I'm so unlucky" 3 times because of another shell for himself? Let's backtrack a bit. As a dead pervert who has adapted to the new name and is responsible for the identity of the city owner and his family almost sacrificed blood to the world when Kui'ar continent has been played all over, it has fallen into a period of boredom and burnout. As a perfect other half besides personality, Chi Guanrui, who has already studied in modern times, suggested that they can go to other worlds for a honeymoon together, which also enhances the joy of life and the freshness of reliving love. Zik Shabai said, "Right. The next thing is obvious." In the thousands of years, Zik Shabai, who also rose to the level of Wuzun, shattered the void together with Chi Guanrui. This should have been a very simple matter, but I don't know why Zik Shabai suddenly he lost consciousness, and when he woke up, he became a different person. In addition, the news of the disappearance of the dead pervert. Yes, he is the only one in the room. Not only is his shell gone, Chi Guanrui is also gone. This is really a sad story. Let's get down to business. Zik Shabai originally thought that he would be safe once he came, and when he figured out the situation, he would think about how to meet the pervert, so he took a look in the mirror by the way, but he was absolutely unexpectedly, what appeared in the mirror was a transvestite who was wearing women's clothes and was about to put 2 lumps on his chest. In an instant, Zik Shabai felt his brain exploded. And then, the memories of this shell also rushed up. In a minute, Zik Shu is white on his forehead. This thing can't be fixed, what a mess. He thought silently, brother is so stupid, really, Geeton knows that he has crossed over, who would have thought that he was wearing the famous masterpiece of Wei Liang. Besides him, Nima, which stallion will make a fake mother in his own text? The identity of this shell is as follows: name, Shang Guanyu, women's Shang Guanyuer, gender, pseudo-girl, although he only became a man before he died, status, a genius in the branch of the Shang Guan family, who was sent to the main family since childhood. Hobbies, chasing the protagonist's strength, always 1 level higher than the protagonist X level. After thinking about it, Zik Shabai silently covered his face again. It is the role of letting the protagonist stab the hornet's nest. After being killed, it will definitely bring great trouble to the protagonist, the most classic of which is beating the young and getting old. Yes, Shang Guanyu is the old one. As a child, his parents died and only he and his brother depended on each other. After checking out the super high qualifications, he was brought to the master's family for training. His brother was forced to stay because he was not young enough at the same time. At the same time, he was raised in the branch as the 2nd generation ancestor of the sun, and he lived a dashing and unrestrained life. However, no matter how useless the 2nd ancestor is, he is the only relative of Shang Guanyu. After the 2nd ancestor did not know why he had to live with the protagonist and was finally killed by the unbearable protagonist, Shang Guanyu began his long road of revenge. At any cost. Of course, when Shang Guanyu appeared, no one knew that he was actually the elder brother rather than the elder sister of the 2nd generation ancestor. Such a glamorous beauty approached the protagonist in order to avenge the murder of her younger brother, and after gaining the protagonist's trust, the conspiracy was gradually revealed. Because of the previous friendship, the protagonist couldn't bear to attack him, but he kept calculating that the protagonist finally achieved the achievement of the protagonist's near-death in his hands several times. Although the protagonist has countless confidants, but this one clearly has a heart with him, but is separated by blood and blood. The beauty is the cinnabar mole in the protagonist's heart. For a time, the voice of the first heroine was so loud until the protagonist finally upgrades to catch up with his strength. The Lengian beauty may feel that she may have no hope of revenge, so she intensifies, and she fights with the protagonist like crazy. The process is constantly ambiguous. The ending was very tragic, and finally died in the arms of the protagonist under the influence of several other women of the protagonist. This is supposed to be poignant. But at the last moment, Shang Guanyu smiled coldly, bursting shirt, oh no, blew herself up. Of course, how could the death of a beauty be in the flesh? The self-destruction failed, but it was true that the clothes were broken. But then, God turned. Protagonist. The protagonist women. That horse Pingchuan's chest, he turned out to be a man. If you accept this fact, it's actually quite emotional AP. When it was, the comment area wailed. The otakus expressed their incomprehension. How did the beautiful people who agreed to fall in love and kill each other change from a girl to a man? This is unscientific. Ah, there is wood. There is no omen at all. The red and purple Kongzhuang Avenue. Think this one is enough? Hee hee. From now on, there will inevitably be a pseudo-girl in the good master's stallion, and this pseudo-girl may be a cannon fodder passerby, or one of the protagonist's women, or even the adoptive mother who raised the protagonist. In short, anything is possible as long as it is a female appearance. And the dead souls in the pit of the good master also began to think that every book had to guess who the pseudo-girl was, and it was quite interesting. Anyway, I'm used to it. Zixubai didn't care much about Wei Liang's behavior, that because he was a transvestite appeared in every book, didn't he? Transvestite? His sisters are even more bizarre, and the gender is wrong, drizzle. If Zixubai knew that he would become such a transvestite one day, he would definitely grab Wei Liang's neck and shake it 300 times, so that he would have to change quickly and immediately. Okay. It's too late. Zixubai took a deep breath. According to Shell's memory, he should be on his way back to visit his only younger brother who just picked up from the little place. It will take about an hour to arrive. And now the most important thing is he has it. Hurry up. Recover. Man. But he has been a fake mother for a long time, what excuse should he think of? Just scratching the wall. The author has something to say. Hello everyone, this is the second part of the Demon Emperor Wu Zun, but everyone knows that the sequel of Shenma's Dog Tale is more likely to continue, so don't hold too much big expectations. I just suddenly became cute, I suddenly wanted to write, but I might not be able to find the feeling I used to. So, it is better to be surprised with low expectations than to be disappointed with high expectations. Ahaha. After taking a deep breath, Zixubai tried to run the power in his body. Something called Yuan Li. As for the strength level, it can basically be divided into Qi refining realm, pulse condensing realm, bone tempering realm, pill holding realm, void transformation realm, cave heaven realm, broken cave realm, tribulation breaking realm, and ascension realm. At present, this shell of Shang Guanyu is in a state of transformation, and it is already a first-class figure among young talents. However, Yuan Li and martial power are not the same thing, so Zixubai has to give it a try to know what level he is, and whether he can recover to the top level in a short period of time, not to mention the top level. Gotta be a master. Zixubai was very lucky. He tried to run Yuan Li a little, and found that Yuan Li was similar to force control. Even if the exercises were different, he was once Wu Zun Hao. It's time to go back to basics, okay? As long as the power is adjusted, there will be no pairs, and if you change the operation method, there will be no pairs. So, he successfully mastered the current power directly, and after casually changing the method, the Yuan Li just like a wild horse running away. Oh! It's in the middle of the virtual world. It's late. Peak. Breakthrough. Arrive at the cave. In the early days of the cave. Midterm. It's later. Peak well, peak for now. After settling down, he can go further by contacting the laws of this world. Wait, did he forget something? By the way, Nima didn't come here on purpose to break through. Now is the most important thing. It's better to change this girl's clothes. Zikshabai stood blankly for 3 seconds. Then, he stretched out his hand and tore off all the clothes. Shang Guanyu's shell is not inferior to Zikshabai's shell in terms of beauty, but it is relatively feminine. However, for Zikshabai, who has already integrated the beep into his bones, his ascetic, high mountain flower-like temperament is released, and all that femininity will be rushed. It was like entering the sewer, revealing the special aura that had settled into the bones of Zikasha for thousands of years. After another 3 seconds of pause, Zikshabai walked over to the bed, tore off the yunjin sheet, and wrapped it around him. And then, he said, "Come on." This tone is not euphemistic at all, it can't be more indifferent. That big secret. And every time she came to guard the door, she didn't dare to take it lightly. This time, she waited quietly for orders, but what she was waiting for was a voice that made her cold to the bones, so much so that she forgot to distinguish this voice from the subtlety of the past. The difference Qing Tong didn't dare to neglect. She opened the door carefully and closed it carefully. Mrs. Temperament is very strange, she can't, King Tong's eyes widened in disbelief when she saw the person who was half leaning on the bed. Who? What about her lady? The man spoke, Qing Tong. Qing Tong blinked, a little hesitant. The man's posture is very ordinary, but it seems to condense the most noble bearing in the world. This seat used to be crazy, and now I wake up. Qing Tong held her breath and probed carefully. 7 sons. After seeing the man nodding reservedly, she was full of anger in her heart. 7th son. It's the 7th son. She just said that she was following a young master, but one day she suddenly became a young lady, so worrying. Sure enough, the 7th young master used to be crazy. Such a son is the peerless genius she really wants to be loyal to. At this moment, Qing Tong pursed her lips and paid homage. Congratulations to the 7th son for successfully overcoming the demon. Yes, a good man suddenly wants to dress up as a girl, of course it is a demon. If Zikshabai knew what Qing Tong girl thought, he would definitely complain silently in his heart. No, in fact, there is still a natural transvestite. In the past, I had no conditions and no strength. After I have the conditions and strength, I will release my favorite. But for Zikshabai, there is nothing more perfect than this excuse. Labor and management are going crazy. Now I'm sober after hearing that I can see my brother whom I haven't seen for many years. Inner demons break through. The strength has also improved greatly. So, Zikshabai nodded slightly reservedly, dress for this seat. After hearing her son's orders, Qing Tong girl couldn't help but tremble. Because the son's appearance and temperament are so shocking that he completely ignores the other person who is just wrapped in a sheet. No, even if he is wrapped in sheets, this one looks like he is wearing a 9-day robe, too high and unattainable. This is the son she follows. You must not be compared by other sons in terms of dressing up. Then, Sister Qing Tong went out. She must pick the best. Make a fist. Zai Che Shabai was silent for a moment after seeing the inspirational expression and fanatical gaze of Qing Tong's sister and his personal maid Lu Xiao and others. It's a bit unaccustomed to leave those perfect maids even if they are all taken over by perverts. There is always a flowery girl around and an otaku-hearted man who enjoys it very much. King Tong's sister also has a great future for cultivation. In the original book, Qing Tong's sister is the #1 loyal dog beside Shang Guanyuer. The otakus say that they are sisters in love, and they once encouraged the protagonist to take the master and servant together. In front of Shang Guanyuer, his loyalty is comparable to that of a dead man, and he has earned a bunch of otaku tears. Of course, everyone knew later that they were not sisters, but served Shang Guanyu since childhood. At first, they regarded people as lovers and adored them. The obsession is even heavier. Treating Shang Guanyu is truly a life and death companion, a loyal servant through the ages. Now, if Zik Shabai wants to restore his manhood smoothly, this loyal maid cannot get around. At the same time, because the Qing Tong girl knew everything from the beginning, and Shang Guanyu's character is also relatively indifferent, she also admired Shang Guanyu very much, so it went smoothly and succeeded. And the whole Shang Guan family, if you want to say that you really understand Shang Guanyu, in fact, no. Because of Shang Guanyu, he is a cultivator. In the aspect of the dead house, it is also somewhat similar to Zik Shabai. Sister Qingtong came back soon after. What she brought was a set of extremely light and precious clothes, which she presented respectfully. Zik Shabai stood up and let the girl Qingtong put it on for him. And then, he glanced in the mirror. Well, the snow-white luxurious robe with gold patterns is covered with a layer of silver gauze, and the long hair is tied by a hairband of the same texture, and it hangs down to the calf from behind itself. Except there is no white jade apart from Gao Guan, this is not much different from when he was the lord of Tiandu city before. Familiar gear makes things easy. Zik Shabai gave a compliment to Sister Qingtong in her heart, and her momentum became stronger. Sister Qingtong covered her chest and took 3 steps backwards, having difficulty breathing. Seventh son is really too noble. In less than half an hour after that, all the people on the battleship, yes, in this world of comprehension, all the battleships that seem to be very scientific in the galaxy all knew that the son Shang Guanyu, who used to go into trouble before, is now successfully sober. Not only has he recovered his body, but he has repeatedly made breakthroughs to become a master of the cave. It's like a legend. But it happened, and everyone began to accept this reality. The news was also passed on to Shangwen's house through various means, which immediately caused a storm in the middle and lower levels. At the same time, it was originally only a small-scale event. Shang Guanyu's younger brother and a few upper-level families who knew the facts would come to welcome Shang Guanyu. It became a major event that caused a sensation in the family, and many people came to watch. Zik Shabai said, "Brother, don't be stage fright, let the horse come over." After a while, the Dragon Star, where Shangwen's house is located, has arrived. In the posture of Qingtong opening the way in front and guarding at the back, Zik Shabai walked out of the gate of the battleship. He stood at the hatchway that was swept by the violent wind, his clothes were hunting, his long hair was fluttering, and he looked down at the ant-like crowd below, and accurately found the people who were pushed to the ground. At the forefront, the blood relatives of this shell have an incomparably powerful aura. I have fish lips. This handsome breaker was so shocking that the crowd below was speechless for a while. I saw Zikishul look down for 3 seconds with a blank face, and he floated down like a 9-day exile. His feet seemed to be stepping on auspicious clouds, and his aura seemed to be able to shake the 9-day Shenli. There was no fluctuation in his eyes, although he didn't mean to look down on people, but as long as his eyes swept over, people couldn't help but want to shrink back and feel ashamed. Shangwen's upper floor A, is there something wrong? The deity is much older, how could he be restrained by the little brat? The upper floor of Shangwen's house B, Shenguang Zhanzhan, amazing bearing, good. Upper C of Shangwen's family, this child has great potential. Should I be supported by another person? Upper D of Shangwen's family, it's really Shangguan begging for defeat. Wait, why does the old man suddenly think so? People's EFG, a woman is a stunning beauty, a man is a great man, and the son of the family is so cool. The one who originally remembered that he was taken away was the elder brother. When he came to this place, he was told that it was actually the elder sister, but it didn't take long for the stupid younger brother to say it was the elder brother, and now there is a little confusion. After jumping down directly, the cool, handsome, arrogant and extremely handsome indifferent young man opened his mouth blankly, "Brother." Long. He subconsciously bent over and saluted, who knew that the bending was too hard, his footsteps were unsteady, and if he was not careful, he threw himself out. Zikshabai looked at the stupid brother who happened to be lying at his feet. Shang Wenjue blushed. The crowd. Zikashu said with a white face, "You don't need to do this big gift, little brother. Such a stupid guy is really the brother of labor and capital? It doesn't look arrogant at all, but has a low IQ. That's right, as for the cannon fodder in the stallion, there are not many who are not brainless. Isn't it stupid?" Shang Guanju got up in confusion. "Yes, brother. I lost my face. My first time seeing Big Brother, hello. Can it be better? Be sure to find that sandbag to beat. Meet. On the same planet. Shangguan Mansion." The young man with beard and stubborn eyes in the woodshed sneezed, raised his axe, and violently split the wooden stake with a water tank in front of him into 2 pieces. He secretly said to himself, "I always feel that there is a dark wind coming from behind." Zikshabai has successfully updated the character image in front of all those who have seen and have not seen Shang Guanyuer, and then used a higher and more indifferent character than the previous Shang Guanyuer, and he raised his beep level, and then he used his own strength value, which was more than 1 step higher than that of his peers, to improve his status in the family. Naturally, the resources that the Shangguan family can give him are completely different from before. So, although Zikshabai is still the 7th son, he is already recognized as the number 1 young master. Even he directly changed the practice to the ice attribute, because he raised his hand and the 10 same-level stewards who rushed over at the same time were frozen in the square, which was greatly appreciated by the family. Zikshabai's treatment increased steadily, and the entire upper class of Shangguan's family smiled wrinkled afterward, and was extremely pleased to arrange a large number of male and female servants to pull ordinary people for hundreds of years. The inexhaustible wealth chi refiners can cultivate resources for 100 years. In the past, they also allocated a large courtyard with one of the best areas in a large vitality spiritual vein. The previous Shangguanyu treatment was also excellent, comparable to that of Zikashu. By Lai, or at least 10 times less. The other sons were very upset, but when they saw the ice sculptures that were constantly being melted by fire-type chi refiners in the square, "Shut up. The situation is stronger than people, this son is forbearing." And then, Zikashu said with a pale face, "Little brother, come with me." Shang Guanju shuddered and said loudly, "Yes. Brother." Afterwards, he glanced triumphantly at the other scoundrel 1234, who also relied on their brother, shook his fan triumphantly, and followed his brother away. Today, the young master is happy and decided to hammer the sandbag twice. When she came to the new yard, King Tong's loyal maid girl took care of all the affairs. After Zikshabai said retreat, she just let it go. Of course, he is indeed in retreat. Jokes, how can you satisfy the former Wuzun? The ambition of the otaku is boiling. In order to find the dead pervert as soon as possible, Zikshabai decided, he fought. When the strength is high enough, he will go out for a walk, wait for the dead pervert to find him, and after the dead pervert comes, he won't have to worry about anything. But Zikshabai never imagined that if he just closed his doors, there would be an accident. After successfully transforming all of her Yuan strength into frigid Yuan strength and transforming her entire physique to be suitable for cultivation, Zikshabai's realm is still there, and her strength naturally soars. Breaking through to the shattered cave realm is also a drizzle. But it fell directly from the broken cave. What is it? Zai Che Shabai looked at the beautiful naked corpse on the ground and fell into a deep depression. This, isn't it, labor and capital, the city lord shell. Brother thought it was broken when the void was broken by the way. Nima is actually hidden in the inner world. I was almost broken by my brother himself. When I was in the cave, I didn't find this thing at all. This is the pit, brother. Hey! Zikshabai took a deep breath. With a wave of his hand, the beautiful naked corpse suddenly disappeared. Brother should put it in the storage wrist wheel. Otherwise, If Sister Qingtong suddenly came in and saw it, she would have thought that brother was a pervert. Brother is not a necrophile. Afterwards, Zik Shabai closed again. Turn grief and anger into strength. Yes. Would. Have. The Demon King. A corner. The one who was being struck by lightning was a huge snake with a mouth. Clear wind. Then, the giant snake said with satisfaction, "This seed has finally successfully survived the thunder tribulation, so I should transform into a human form to capture this demon king." It stopped abruptly. Just as it was full of ambition, suddenly, a dark shadow fell from high above, blocking all light. Hey! The giant snake was a little unhappy, and he would scold, "Which turtle grandson boom?" After the loud noise, what fell in front of the giant snake was an even bigger and more terrifying, giant python. Snake. This inexplicable sense of danger. Sure enough, at the next moment, the giant snake found the python's head turned around, its eyes full of scarlet. Giant snake, everyone is black, can you say something? Wait. Hello. The more exaggerated mouth bites its head, and the powerful deterrent belonging to the high bloodline makes it immobile. Then, it doesn't know anything. After a stick of incense, several little monsters ran over happily, eager to flatter, "Your Majesty, Your Majesty. Congratulations to Your Majesty for successfully surviving the thunder calamity, from now on incarnating as a human being, gaining inheritance memories, and becoming a demon king." La! In the big pit, there was indeed a lazy python circling at this time. It looks completely black, except for the center of the python head, there is a touch of golden lines. It looks really noble, and the pressure from the blood makes these little monsters tremble and kneel down. However, in their hearts, they were very happy. A little monster trembled and said, "Your Majesty is so boring." The giant python lazily propped up its upper body, opening its mouth to spit out a trace of blood. It tastes bad and is edible. These little bugs will be kept for now. After that, the giant python in the pit suddenly disappeared, and what appeared in front of the little monsters was a handsome young man in a black robe. But it gives people a creepy feeling, which makes people feel a little dizzy from the bottom of their hearts. The little monsters saw that their king was so perfect, and couldn't help but wonder, what bloodline is inherited by the king? Of course, the handsome young man would not answer this question, and showed a smile, with a kind of extreme softness between his eyebrows. "You, what do you call me?" The little monsters said in unison, "Your Majesty." "Very good." The handsome young man smiled softly, "Go home." The little monsters jumped up, "Yes." Therefore, these little monsters led the way, and everyone was very happy. There was a twist in the eyes of the handsome young man. "Here, where? This deity, who is it?" The young man looked at his hands and always felt that something was missing. "Less, what? Boring. Want to ruin. Want to destroy the world." The author has something to say, "Qi Guan Rui, I have an antisocial personality. I used to be able to say that I was a demon for a long time. If I have a breakthrough every day, isn't it obvious to tell others that we have a problem?" So, Zik Shabai stayed in the room for 3 years before coming out. Of course, in the past 3 years, in addition to transforming his own exercises to be more suitable for this world and constantly breaking through breakthroughs, he has contacted that dead pervert. It makes me sad to think about it. After so many years, Zik Shabai has long been accustomed to being entangled by the dead pervert. Now after breaking the void, the dead pervert was lost. No wonder it doesn't taste good. The feeling is that he is going to spend a honeymoon with his partner, but when he arrives at the destination, he sees it fuck. Why is the object of labor and capital gone? Don't be too hard. However, there is no way to do this. Zik Shabai currently wants the power to be out of business, and the popularity of the people can't keep up with the past. Going out to find someone is totally impossible. So after these 3 years have passed, Zik, the initial stage of apparent strength, the middle stage of real strength, and the middle stage of robbery, Shabai, slapped the door open and exited the customs. With such an obvious movement, the 100 or so guards who guarded him in the yard turned their heads and knelt down again. Under the leadership of Sister Ching Tong, they came, all of them said hello in unison. My subordinates welcome the 7th son to leave the customs. Zikshu was expressionless. Get up. Then the yard was full of people again. The young master who is in the virtual world can be regarded as a thug who belongs to Zikshabai alone. Internally, they have to sacrifice their lives for Zikshabai, and externally, they are also very important. And not only the strength is extraordinary, other aspects are also not bad, belong to the comprehensive development of talents. For example, now, these guards have a very good vision. Even if you can't see the specific geometry of Zikshabai's strength, you can feel that the realm of the 7th son is unfathomable. Broken sample. I was too cold for a while. I heard that the 7th young master is very strong, and now I am surprised to find that he is so strong. It really makes people want to surrender. So many pairs of enthusiastic gazes shot towards Zikshabai like rays. Zikshabai was very calm. What's the point of a little battle? I think that in order to celebrate his birthday, the dead pervert controlled millions of strong people to gather in Tiandu city at once, and directly gave him $1 million worship, and almost gave him the blood sacrifice of these high-level experts as fireworks. Romantic, at that time, he was simply frightened and confused. You were stopped by his cold sweat. Later, he could ignore everything he saw again. Zi Chesho said with a pale face, "Where is my brother?" The guards swiped and they all dispersed. Only the trembling body of the Qing Tong sister was left, and she was bleak in the cold wind. Zikshabai, what's wrong with that stupid brother? Qing Tong girl showed a heroic expression, summoned up her courage, and said, "Return to the 7th son. Master Ju is on, percent Yuan number Yuan at stage." Zikshabai Zay, what? Brother swears that with his excellent ear, I can't hear what the girl Qing Tong said. Sister King Tong's voice was a little louder, "Young Master Ju, you are on the fighting stage." Zikshabai frowned slightly. What is there to say about the last fight? This talk is almost so bad that it hasn't appeared in the original novel, so I'm embarrassed to say that what I wrote is a fantasy. In the martial arts platform of Shangwen's family, it's very common for young people to vent their energy. Did you say? Zikshabai's eyes widened indistinctly by 0.1 millimeters. Meet? Isn't that stupid brother provoking the protagonist? And thinking about the performance of the stupid brother in the original book who tirelessly sought trouble for the protagonist and kept dying, Zikshabai thought that he might be able to take a look. Zikshabai, lead the way. Sister Qing Tong saw that she was not blamed, so she carefully looked at the expression of her son, and then she found the frown of the son with her eyesight beyond 5.0. The maid is useless to trouble the son, no death can atone for sin. After that, she immediately led the way. Young Master Ju is too self-willed, how can you make Master worry about him? It seems that we have to think of a way in the future. He is handsome and talented. Such a winner in life doesn't want to be optimistic. So, Zikshabai came to a huge fighting platform smoothly. On the stage, two figures are facing each other. The conversation is as follows: "Hey, look at my baby, go. Humph, are you all that good? Triple X baby, go too. Hee hee, are you all that skilled? Look at my baby at the bottom of the box. Beat him. Too much bullying, watch me beat you up." The crowd silently covered their faces. Zikshabai looked at it for 3 seconds, and wanted to cover her face. Nima's picture is so stupid that I can't bear to watch it. At this moment, the gorgeously dressed dude on the fighting platform was being beaten by a strong young man in an ordinary blue shirt. Blood splashes. "Dandy, help! The ancient punishment spares me, I won't fight." The strong boy continued to fight, you say that every time. Dude, I give up, give up, give up. She was really unhappy in her heart. Young Master Ju was incompetent and liked to make trouble with the ancient punishment. What do you think is hard to live with a handyman? That handyman was too arrogant. What would he do if he was soft on young Master Ju? This is not the first time. Why did I get caught by the young master? Number I saw the protagonist beating my brother as soon as I left the customs. Number Zik Shabai's mood is very complicated. From today's scene, he seemed to see the story of how the stupid brother killed himself step by step, and finally killed himself. However, education is still lacking. Must be beaten. Zik Shabai took one step at a time and walked towards the fighting platform. Because of his own aura, the crowd he passed by gave way to both sides like Moses divided the sea. Let him go smoothly and go to the front of the stage. At this time, because Shang Guanju conceded defeat, Gu Xing had to stop, but before he stopped, he didn't forget to give Shang Guanju the last punch. Shang Guan, pft! Spit out a mouthful of broken teeth. Zik Shabai said indifferently, little brother. The teeth were broken and it was already very hard. When Shang Guanju heard this call, the hardship turned into pain. He turned his head, suddenly trembling. Big brother. Zik Shabai waved his hand blankly. Shang Guanju immediately flew up and landed directly in Zik Shabai's hands. Zik Shabai held his collar and looked at him. Shang Guanju's eyes lit up. He pointed to the ancient punishment on the martial arts platform, and said loudly, "Da-da." The crowd. The ancient punishment on the stage immediately tightened his body, staring at Zik Shabai with a gaze as if he had encountered a beast, as if he was afraid that he would shoot at the next moment. Zik Shabai, haha. You are so arrogant and complaining, save your energy if you can't speak clearly. Don't you know if it's not good to fight against the protagonist? It's okay to wear cannon fodder. Nima doesn't want to continue to be the villain at all, okay? Under Zi Che Shabai's emotionless eyes, Shang Guanju's voice became smaller and smaller. But he still didn't give up and muttered in a low voice. Zik Shabai looked at Gu Xing. In the eyes of Gu Xing, there is an unyielding spirit. Zik Book is in vain. As soon as he stretched out his hand, he directly grabbed Gu Xing and grabbed his collar. Then he turned around and carried the two away. Ancient punishment. What is Shang Guanyu doing? This is totally illogical. Onlookers, this is really illogical. A slap in the face of the ancient punishment is still to teach the younger brother or protect the short to find the ancient punishment trouble. You can choose one of three. But carrying a person away with his younger brother means a few things. Ching Tong girl swept the crowd. Many guards swept the crowd. They also turned away. What do you want to do? Just do it. How can a foolish mortal understand the deep meaning of the sun? In fact, Zik Shabai is also very innocent. He really. The two of them were taken away together. And to say the least, is it meaningful that the protagonist has the same face as Erdadai in his previous life? He really couldn't hold back. Zik Shabai was a little depressed. He carried the younger brother of this life in his left hand and the protagonist in his right hand. After a few ups and downs, he quickly returned to his new spacious yard. Then he put them down. Zik Shu looked at the two of them blankly. In his prejudiced eyes, this is simply stupid written on the face of the person on the left, and stupid written on the face of the person on the right. Can it be better? Gu Xing is a very tolerant person. Originally, he wanted to improve his strength in a low-key way and then leave, but he didn't expect to meet the dude who had been cleaned up by him before. What is even more unexpected is that the backstage of the dandy can be so powerful. He has only been here for 3 years, and he has already heard countless legends about the seventh son, Shang Guanyu. However, no matter how powerful Shang Guanyu is, he will not bow down to it. So even though Shang Guanju used this older brother's reputation to constantly trouble him, he was never afraid. Didn't he also break several of Shang Guanju's dog legs? But I didn't expect that this time, Shang Guanyu personally took action. It was also at this time that Gu Xing realized how big the gap between himself and Shang Guanyu was. Now, I don't know how Shang Guanyu will deal with him. In Gu Xing's heart, the idea of escape was already spinning rapidly. Then he found pessimistically that the probability of being able to escape was less than 10%. Or even 0. He took a deep breath. Since he couldn't escape, he had to face it. Gu Xing calmly looked at the handsome young man in fancy clothes, and said neither humbly nor arrogantly, "Gu Xing has seen seventh young master." Zik Shabai turned his face silently. "I can't help but want to laugh when I see this face. What's the matter?" Why did Diti's handsome and arrogant face grow on the protagonist? It's just making trouble for his book-wearing career. Can't look directly. Therefore, Zai Che Shabai glanced at Gu Xing. His expression was very indifferent, between his eyebrows and eyes, like frost and snow that will not melt for 10,000 years, in that very slight movement, there is also a unparalleled dignity. He just sits here, he doesn't have to answer anything, the ancient punishment has already occurred, and every pore of himself is shivering in this breath. Ancient punishment, too strong. Zik Shabai, Nima wants to laugh again. Shang Guanju covered his face and looked at his brother aggrieved. He's been beaten like this, why didn't the eldest brother avenge him? Is this his own brother? But if you ask him to say more, he will not dare tat. In fact, he has been here for so long, and he has met his brother twice. Every time he is so cold, he is under a lot of pressure. Zi Chesho said blankly, "After 3 days, we will fight again." Ancient punishment, seventh son, what does this mean? After another battle, I will follow the official formula. Shang Guan, young sister Qing Tong knew that her son did not like to talk too much, so she dutifully came out to explain, the seventh son means that after 3 days, the ancient punishment and Ju son will be here. There will be another battle in the courtyard, and the son will watch the battle and do this arbitration. Gu Xing was very hesitant. The meaning of this seventh young master is that as long as he fights again, he will not care about his beating up Shang Guanju? If this is the case, fight again and again, with the above-mentioned official tactics, even if Shang Guanyu opened a small stove for him in the past 3 days, he would not be his opponent. Shang Guanju is not happy, why are you so tender? Zik Shabai snorted coldly. Shang Guanju was silent. Sister Qing Tong once again spoke for her son. Young Master Zhu and Gu Xing are both bone-hardening qi cultivators, with equal realms, dignified men, they should be happy and grudge, how can they always rely on others? She looked at the protagonist, if you win the ancient punishment, you don't have to worry about the bad luck I will find you later. Not only did you beat up Master Zhu, but he will also give you a generous reward. She looked at Shang Guanju again. If young Master Zhu wins, whatever conditions you propose, young master will naturally agree. Zik Shabai made a hum, indicating that this was his idea. Qing Tong sister, I successfully got the voice of the son again, so happy. Ancient punishment in a blink of an eye, and I already have concerns in my heart. This is really not a bad thing for him. I originally thought that I might suffer a loss, but now it seems that Shang Guanyu is fair, as long as he does what he says, he can be called a person with a heart and live up to his reputation. In this way, he can not only beat Shang Guanju again, but also make a fortune. It can be said that he will make a steady profit without losing money. As for losing to Shang Guanju, after several lives and deaths, he has finally reached the present, how could he be defeated here? If even a dandy like Shang Guanju can defeat him, he will not even think about climbing the highest peak of the road. So, Gu Xing clenched his fists, in this case, Gu agrees. Shang Guanju is still very unwilling. Zi Che Shabai glanced at him, if you lose, face the wall for 3 years. Shang Guanju's eyes suddenly widened, Day. Gu Xing sneered, could it be that Master Zhu is afraid of Gu? Shangwenju's hair is about to explode, which ate you? Gu Xin continued to sneer, that's it. Zik Shabai took another look at that handsome and arrogant face, and with a flick of his sleeves, he got the person out. Sure enough, I still can't bear to look straight then. He picked up Shang Guanju, Shi Shiran walked into another corner of the yard, and threw it into the puppet wooden figure. This stupid little brother, when will you kill the Shivamu and when will we eat again? This was the most prosperous place on the Demon King star, and it was also the residence of the most powerful Tiger King among the 5 Demon Kings on the Demon King star. At that time, the extremely vast valleys had beautiful scenery, the mountains were magnificent, the feng shui was clear, the kingly spirit was contained, and there were countless demon cities standing in it. But now, there are only broken, the walls are in ruins, blood, resentment, soaring into the sky. The bone road has been extended, higher and higher, piled up into a hostile, white bone throne. And on that throne, a young man is sitting. He was lying there in a somewhat lazy posture, with a handsome face and a soft temperament. He looked like an ordinary chi cultivator, but only his eyes were deep, overflowing with a biting icy cold. There is no emotion at all, even if he always has a smile on his lips, it makes people shudder. At this time, on the ground paved with bones, there are many banshees with embossed bodies dancing gracefully. But if someone took a closer look, they could find that their eyes were filled with fear that they tried to cover up. They are afraid. The banshees, who usually like to seduce men the most, now show their strengths to the fullest, but they do not have the slightest charm that they usually have when picking the sun, but are extremely reluctant, as if forced. There are tables and stools made of white bones on both sides, and each bone table is inlaid with a skull. There are tiger demon heads, leopard demon heads, cattle demons, snake demons. It can be seen that the materials of these bone table bone stools are all taken from a demon corpse come. What's even more amazing is that behind the tiger bone table, sitting is the tiger demon, and behind the cow bone table, is the cow demon. These powerful monsters, the muscles on their faces twitch, but no one dares to leave this place. In the entire valley, behind countless bone tables and bone stools, there are tens of thousands of monsters either standing or sitting, and there are many drinks and dishes on the bone table, which can be called a 10,000 demon conference. But this 10,000 demons conference does not have the joyous atmosphere that it should have before. Measure the most powerful magic weapon in the sky. But at this time, in his hand, it was just a wine glass. He slowly raised the tortoise shell with one hand and said softly, "Everyone drink this cup full." After speaking, "Take a sip." The monsters below were trembling, but they didn't dare to hesitate to grab the skull inlaid on the bone table, use it as a bone cup, and swallow the wine. However, they didn't feel the deliciousness and refreshment of the past. After drinking this cup, the young man seemed a little bored, so he slowly played with the tortoise shell and stopped greeting the demons. These monsters waited for a long time, and seeing that the young man did not have any orders, the atmosphere slowly became alive. "This ancestor from nowhere, I can't afford it." The hearts of the monsters couldn't help but sigh in unison. The Demon King star, before the ancestors came, was controlled by the 5 Demon Kings together. Power on! For many, many years, the monsters have a long life, and this is how they lived. Of course, it's not that no one challenged the authority of the Demon King. For example, a few decades ago, there was a snake brat who claimed to be the Demon King of Kongshan but had no shape at all. Replacing the 5 Demon Kings, but before they could do anything, they were pushed into the corner by the Demon Kings without even looking, and there was no more sound. Before the Kongshan snake left, he made a lot of nonsense, wanting to inherit the blood of his ancestors, and come back to fight after transforming, but apart from a few little monsters behind him, who would take this matter seriously. But I never expected that that fellow really caused a big mess. It was a sunny morning, crackling, and thunder fell from the sky. After smashing it, a demon king who transformed into a perfect human form was smashed. Originally, the new Demon King is nothing special. The big deal is to set up a banquet and let everyone meet up to give a place to the sky. Who knows that the 5 Demon Kings have not waited for someone to invite them respectfully. Going to the banquet, instead, a storm swept the entire Demon King star. On a sunny morning, a huge black python with a body spanning thousands of miles slowly crawled out. You can climb it as soon as you say it. No one stopped it from basking in the sun, but it went to what are the meanings of which tail is swept away and destroyed? Well, it's very exciting to know that it has awakened the bloodline. It doesn't matter if the old guys tolerate the new generation, it will be destroyed if you destroy it in a few places, but what does it mean when you destroy it and swallow it? Uncle can't bear it, auntie can't bear it. Yes, in just one day, this giant python has climbed 1/5 of the Demon King star, swept all the cities in this area, and swallowed all the demon people. A total of millions of that is proper. And even if the monsters are not, the powerful monsters have also been eaten a lot. In short, after passing through a place, an empty city, Nima is too arrogant. At the same time of being arrogant, he also has strength. The 1/5 of the Demon King star is the territory of the Elephant Bowl Demon King among the 5 Demon Kings. He is so presumptuous by the new generation Demon King, of course he will come out to fight. But never thought. This Elephant Bowl Demon King just appeared, and it was also swallowed by that python mouth. After that, the black python continued to climb to the next Demon King's territory, like a normal person, crawling all the way, swallowing all the way, destroying all the way. Not long after, the Dragon Lizard Demon King's territory ruined, even the demons and their subjects were all swallowed up alive. Next, the next Demon King. The next Demon King is Luohu Demon King. It's not that she never thought of joining forces with the other 2 Demon Kings, but when she thinks about the 2 Demon Kings before being swallowed face to face, she thinks it's too unreliable. There is no way for the weak to eat the strong, and at the worst, can she try the trick of seduction? It doesn't matter if it's useful or not, why don't you give it a try? Fortunately, this Luohu Demon King succeeded. When she surrendered loudly before appearing, the black python slowly closed its mouth, glanced at her slowly, and slowly shook it again. Python tail, changed direction. Surrender works. Super plus enjoy. Next, the remaining Golden Ape Demon King and Sirius Demon King also surrendered. Nima, I really don't know how the ancestor's stomach grows. It has swallowed 2/5 of the monster and still has no response. Is that a bottomless pit? Aren't you afraid of indigestion? A starving ghost is reborn. This is it. No matter how much you slander, your life is the most important thing. As a result, this new Demon King of the Empty Mountain, with his indescribable appetite, ruled the entire Demon King star, and has since become the undisputed king of Earth on this planet. Hehe, you think it's over? That must not be. This newly appointed Demon King, the President, is simply a lifelong lover of eating. He eats wherever he goes, and he doesn't vomit after eating. Oh no, after a while after eating, he suddenly poofs. He spat out a lot of bones, so he built a city of demon bones and stayed in it every day to make a fortune. The bad taste. In short, this is the deep well ice that even the monsters are afraid of, a species that has never appeared in the monster pile before. Moody, can kill you with a smile, kill you when you are angry, when you are bored I still want to kill you. In just a few short days, the number of residents on Monster King planet has dropped sharply, and all of a sudden, there is no need to worry about the overpopulation of demons and family planning. Like now, the Demon King of the Empty Mountain drank a glass of wine and stretched out his hand. In an instant, the beauties who were dancing voluptuously were caught. You thought this was for pleasure? The only remaining Demon King silently covered his face and turned his head. Why would they say head if it's for pleasure? Then, there was a muffled sound of a corpse falling to the ground. In the hands of the Demon King of Nakong Mountain, he was holding a round bead with thin blood, showing a blue color. Then he shook it with his hand, and the blood disappeared, but he didn't know what to think, so he crushed the bead into pieces. Monsters. Look. Just so boring. Just watch someone dance, and you can suddenly do it. At first, there were people around to please him, and he was able to dig his heart out. It's true heartbroken. Who's going to get all right? Not a civilized demon at all. Even if I'm hungry, I won't just grab one of my subordinates and eat it. The key is that the ancestors didn't eat it. People like to squeeze the demon pill and listen to the sound. What an extravagant hobby! No matter how many monsters there are, it's not enough to play like this. If you have nothing to do, it is too perverted to get everyone together to have a banquet and listen to him. They manage a planet even if there are fewer people, they are still very busy. They also have to make them drink with the bones and heads of their own clansmen. If they don't drink it, they don't give face. What kind of trouble? The demon kings all felt that this ancestor must have broken his brain during the thunder calamity, and even if he had broken his brain, he also gained strength. This is truly an unprecedented catastrophe. So, you have to find something interesting for him to do. The demon king Luahu took a deep breath, stood up, and saluted coquettishly, "Your Majesty, there is a news report from the slave family." She gave the golden ape demon king and the serious demon king a knife without a trace, and she was full of slander. "What's wrong with my mother? Is there a distinction between men and women in front of this ancestor? Ah! Push the old lady out. If the old lady hangs up and turns into a ghost, I will not let you two thieves go." The demon king of Kongshan gave a faint Luahu demon king took a deep breath, and his voice became more charming. "Now on the Taekshuan Star, an unprecedented large-scale auction is about to be held, and countless treasures will be auctioned. If the king is there, it's boring to stay on this demon king planet. Why don't you go there and play?" The demon king of Kongshan rolled his eyes, and a very gentle smile appeared on his lips. "Oh!" Luahu demon king smiled stiffly, and hurriedly lowered his head. "There are thousands of spirit crystals in the slave family, may my king accept it?" The demon king of Kongshan said softly, "In this case, this king will remember your thoughts." The demon king Luahu was just about to breathe a sigh of relief. Empty Mountain demon king's tone was softer. "However, this king has never left here, and the road here is not familiar, so I need someone to lead the way for the king." Luahu demon king Hwarong was bleak. "The slave family. I would like to serve my king with you." The demon king of Kongshan chuckled, "Very good." His eyes swept away. "Golden ape, serious, the two of you will also go with this king and be a guard." As soon as these words came out, the demon king Luahu was very happy. "Martin made you cheat my mother. Deserved shot." The golden ape demon king and the heavenly wolf demon king looked at each other, and both came out, knelt down and kowtowed, "I obey." Of course, they also donated thousands of spirit crystals. The demon king of the empty mountain waved his hand and let the three get up. His eyes were dark, and there was a hint of haze between his eyebrows. "Auction? If you want to come, there will be many people going to Tianduxing." Zik Shabai, who just moved, stood in the midair of this planet, looking down at his own territory and the inhabitants of the planet, and sighed in his heart. "From today, brother is also a man from the stars." Zik Shabai's current surface strength is at the early stage of the Shattered Cave realm. Isn't he allotted a planet? Later, it was renamed Tianduxing, which is also a matter of course. The local residents on the planet are very honest, and they still pay taxes if they change the star owner, but the management still has to adjust. Zik Shabai said that there is no pressure. "Why don't you just call it? I used to fight a city, and now I fight a planet, it is also an evolution." After reading it, Zikisha fell to the ground in vain. Surrounded by Ching Tong's sister and a group of loyal dogs and guards, he walked into his own Star Master mansion. Sister Ching Tong reported as she walked. For example, Mr. Zhu, who was defeated by Gu Xing last time, was still struggling in the wooden circle, and Gu Xing took the initiative to ask to enter another wooden circle to practice. The confidant of the sun has been quite effective in subduing the management. The outside world is very exciting, the news blah blah blah. Listening, Zik Shabai stopped. I seem to have heard the word auction. Auction, see also auction, such a large-scale event is the place where the sense of existence can be most refreshed. With the level of my brother, I am well known. But first there's a problem, brother's current assets, how much are you in total? Zi Che Shabai was sitting on the high throne of the Star Lord mansion, with 100 guards standing on both sides, and on the steps a little below, Ching Tong's sister held the list in her hand, and the voice in cadence, chanting the current state of taxation on the planet. Top grade spirit crystal yuan number, yuan percent, middle grade spirit crystal, percent number, percent yuan and, jin, low grade spirit crystal, and percent, yuan, ton, a variety of elixir. Various minerals. Various. Simply put, the Star Master is a rich man. The Star Owner is to buy, it can be cool. The Star Master wants to swell as much as he wants. The Star Master is willful. We will all work hard to make money. Zik Shabai nodded. Very good, my brother is so rich, so rich. Needless to say, Sister Ching Tong went to prepare to extract spiritual crystals as backup funds for the auction, and some of the stewards who were promoted from the guards were also very loyal and busy. Big brother. Zik Shabai looked to the left. Stupid cheap brother Shang Guanju, now sticking to the chair and dawdling, twisted like grass in his heart. Big brother, I want to go too. Zik Shu was expressionless, wooden formation. The small teeth grow out and can speak the whole thing, and then start making requests? Shang Guanju's eyes lit up, 3 levels have passed. Zik Shabai, it took half a month to get through the 3 levels, how big of a face, dare to take credit to brother. Didn't you see that the protagonist next door to your house has passed the 8 levels? Every time I find fault, I get beaten up by the protagonist, my stupid brother. You know the shame and then the courage to understand it. Obviously, he did not understand the Shangguan formula. He just stared at his eldest brother with expectant eyes, Pika Pika just glowed. Zik Shu was defeated. Forget about keeping the stupid brother at home, there might be something wrong with it. If I remember correctly, this stupid brother in the original plot also invited a group of playful children to go with the name of the Shangguan family. Even if he went, he was still arrogant and domineering, and offended people under the design of the protagonist's ancient punishment, causing most of the dandy to die, and those who survived were taken back to face the wall, causing a lot of trouble for Shangguan Yuer. Of course, just bring the protagonist over there and see it under your nose. Even if something happens, it can stop the development of the situation, right? So, he said with a paralyzed face, the ancient punishment will go together. Shang Guanju suddenly burst into flames. Why does that servant want to go together? I wonder if my brother is not right with him. Is this really my brother? At this moment, there was a lot of chicken belly in his heart. It's so unscientific. Why is Big Brother so nice to that kid? However, under the high-pressure policy of Zik Shabai, Shang Guanju's inner resistance is completely useless. But he was suddenly called over and said that he was going to take him out to meet the ancient punishment of the world. He was also very surprised. Then, he felt a stab of unpleasant eyes. Gu Xin turned his head and looked. Hey, isn't this the Shangguan formula of that dandy young master? As soon as he thought about it, he knew what this guy was thinking, and he couldn't help but feel somber. Number, you are not happy, I am happy. Number, don't say that Gu Xin would be interested in that auction. Even if he is not interested, he will go. But he was also a little puzzled. This Shang Guanyu is too good for him. Is this to win him over? Or, because of Shang Guanju's relationship, you want him to be the whetstone of Shang Guanju? But no matter what, he will not give in. Shang Guanju, a dude who has no willpower and no patience, will not be able to sharpen a sharp knife with him in another 10,000 years. Exactly, he can make use of Shang Guanyu's resources to improve. Only the stronger he is, the more he can get more. I just hope that Shang Guanyu can always keep it. Don't think that Shang Guanju was beaten too badly by him and lost this fairness. Number every protagonist is a brain buddy number. If Zik Shabai knew what he was thinking, he would definitely complain silently, no, I just want to get my stupid brother to make a fool look stupid in front of you. A few beatings are no problem at all. Next, under the joint preparation of the subordinates of the Star Lord's mansion, a personal guard drove the battleship and greeted the Star Lord. Shang Guanju saw that the situation was over, and followed with a downcast of course. He did not forget to cast a threatening look at Gu Xing. You bastard, stay away from my eldest brother. Ancient punishment seconds understand. Is this dude provocative? He pretended not to see, and lowered his head to mix behind the crowd. As for Shang Guanju's more unhappy expression, he doesn't care. In this way, the journey went smoothly. After a 5-day journey, the Star Master of Tianduxing and his subordinates successfully arrived at the Taixuanxing auction site. Of course, this is just a matter of courtesy, and more came from other sources. The guards prepared the treasure car and parked it in front of the battleship hatch. Zai Che Shabai walked out of the cabin door, he lifted the hem of his clothes and landed on it. Prince and guard, Star Master is very good. I'll lift me up. Qing Tong girl had a serious expression, she jumped up and stood fluttering on the right side of the throne car. The Star Master goes out, the idlers retreat. If you want to fight for a seat, hurry up. Then really quickly, 8 people rushed out of the guards and lifted the car. Zikshu was sitting on it, the robe was high, and the robe was flying, and suddenly it became even more noble and glamorous. A gust of wind swept through, and hundreds of guards guarded the car, and they rushed towards the auction door. The Taixuan auction house has seen a lot of noble people, and even the guards have trained their eyes to offend people, right? Although I don't know why these wicked guards see the protagonist's IQ 5, they look down on people. Oh, except for the beautiful waiters, they can always see the protagonist's extraordinariness. At least in the face of when Zik was white, the quality of the guards was still in place. For example, now, a steward-level person will soon come up and express his admiration for Zik Shabai from head to toe, from bearing to car, and then say, "Dear guests, please go shopping by yourself, the auction has officially started to inform you." Zik Shabai nodded reservedly. Brother is a reasonable person, brother is just going to brush his presents. Qing Tong girl smiled softly, your good intentions, my son has understood, please send someone to lead the way. As soon as the steward waved his hand, another beautiful girl came over and bowed gracefully, my servant Liasu, please. Next, the group entered the door smoothly. The whole process was smooth and unobstructed. Lu Su is a very understanding person. She chatted with Qing Tong along the way, and introduced the auction scene in great detail. Zik Shabai really couldn't understand more about this thing, so he didn't listen very carefully, just kept his eyes fixed, and his mind was racing. I didn't know where to go. Speaking of which, should I find someone to provoke myself, or to provoke others, to meddle in my own business, or to find some reason to show off? There are too many ways to choose, it's a little difficult, and it can't damage the image of my brother, otherwise it will be too shameless. You must use the most beautiful, decisive, and unrestrained movements to show your unparalleled heroic appearance. Your brother has evolved from a city lord to a star lord, so he can't be as handsome as he used to be, right? Just walking, 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 everyone is almost gone. Lu Su said that if your guests are tired, you can take a break. Sister Qing Tong also said that my son is delicate and expensive, so take a break when you take a break. So everyone took a break. But after such a break, the guards at the rear conveyed a sad news. The ancient slave who was asked to pay attention by the Star Master. He is gone. The guards are almost on the ground, watching the Star Master's demeanor is so attentive and ignoring the mission goal. Star-Lord, please forgive me. Zik Shabai, it's all like this, can the protagonist slip away? Nima, this is really going to continue to develop the plot. Hey! Afterwards, Sister Ching Tong raised her hand tremblingly, that, son. Zik Shabai looked over. Sister Ching Tong pursed her lips with difficulty, young Master Ju. Her voice was weak, he's gone too. Zai Che Shabai silently supported his forehead. Ma'am! Stupid brother, are you going to kill yourself? At this time, I felt that I had to take the opportunity to find something, and I happened to have a facetofus with a group of people. At the same time, he had been paying attention to the ancient punishment and discovered his sneaky Shang Guanju, and just followed him secretly. Usually, when you want to enter the inner hall, you will always pass by here, although the more beautiful one can take the dako, but I have to say, this Taixuan business will do business, that's a thief. And now, there is a very handsome young man, with an enchanting woman on the left, 2 burly men on the right, and a string of strange-looking guards behind them. Gives a very uncomfortable feeling. Even many people can recognize that these monsters must be the legendary monsters. Especially the 2 burly men, at first glance, are you Mao drinking blood is especially cruel. Stay away from them. However, when the eyes of the handsome young man at the front swept carelessly, he stopped somewhere in front of him. That was a strong young man approaching. He obviously saw them, want to dodge. Unfortunately, before he had time to dodge, he found that there was another person in front of him. The next moment, the youth and teenagers are gone. Hit! People! Why slap in the face? No, not right. The point is why this guy, who is clearly the leader of the monster, will grab a little chi cultivator in the bone-hardening realm and hit him in the face. The 3 demon kings who followed and witnessed everything expressed their incomprehension. The demon king Luohu hesitantly looked over there. This young man is not as handsome as the king. The serious demon king is also hesitant. Does the king have a grudge against him? Shouldn't he kill him because of hatred? The golden ape demon king hesitated. If he wanted to teach people a lesson, why did the king do it himself? The king of the Kong mountain at the front, as if nothing had happened, went straight to the inner hall. 3 demon kings slightly embarrassed, probably, the king is sick again. Then, as if everything just now was an illusion, they quickly followed. The demon soldiers behind them all moved in unison, and they all disappeared. What a windy monster! The onlookers who also witnessed everything, can Nimana be an illusion? Don't lower their IQ. Innocent was beaten. This sudden disaster is completely incomprehensible. Did he offend that person? Such a shame, must be reported. Soon came to see the Shang Guanju of the ancient punishment, closed the fan in his hand and knocked, pointed at the ancient punishment and laughed, ha 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 ha. The ancient punishment, you also have today. You were beaten into a pig's head. Right. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The complexion of Gu Xing suddenly became extremely ugly. In a quarter of an hour, 2 people came out of the alley. The 2 of them have exactly the same pig head face. Shang Guanju, damn bastard. Ancient punishment, cool. Why does he feel itchy when he sees that face? What does this mean? Is it something to do with his lost memory? Thinking like this, King Kong Shan has entered the inner hall. He looked up and saw a person at a glance. After that, he never saw anyone else. Boy, although probably not. You must know that the protagonist is always full of adventures in the starting point of the upgrade flow, and the upgrade flow of the stallion type. The protagonist must meet girls in different coincidences. Think about it carefully. In this part of the original book, the protagonist met a girl from another great family. Here we have to mention this stallion essay called Wuzong Xing Xing, the good friend Wei Liang of the original Gu Bai XX Che Shu Bai, wrote it. Stallion Wen Lei is a cliché, completely different from Gu Bai, who cannibalistic and carnal stallion. People write about a variant of a stallion, a harem flow covered in a fig leaf to put it more aptly, true love flow. What is true love? The protagonist focuses on romance and love, focusing on ambiguous entanglement, and is not the purpose. As Gu Bai thinks, since he has already used beep to think, don't talk about feelings, and honestly admit how frank his essence is. But Waliang shook his head, saying that we still have to set up the archway that should be established. Far too far. Back to this book. This kind of pure and clean goddess was smashed by beep, and only the otaku who was chasing the text at that time understood auctions like today are also a relatively important plot in the early stage, where Gu Xing met one of his true loves, Lian Xiaoer. Note, the quirky heroine. Originally, the reason they knew each other was because Shang Guanju found out that the ancient punishment had also come here, and took the initiative to find fault, and also launched a group of gangsters to carry out a brutal beating against the ancient punishment, and later they were even punished. Xiaoer saw that the stop was coming. Now Gu Xing is coming with Shangwen's house, which somehow went out, and Shang Guanju is still with him. I don't know if the plot will start again. The protagonist has already destined true love with him, one of Did You Meet? Zixu's mind was empty. He sat in the rest area with a blank face, took a sip of the teacup and took a slow sip. At this moment, he felt an aggressive look shot from the door. Who dares to look at brother like this? Be sure to let him know why the flowers are red. Zixu was stunned. That face is only a little uglier than him. That deeply distorted temperament. That clear and unmistakable deep well-ice feeling. Isn't this a dead pervert who has been separated from him for a long time? At this moment, Zai Che Shubai felt a little joy in his heart. Yes, a little. Brother is a very reserved person, and I can hear the sound of countless small flowers blooming on the cliff. Brother didn't wait for the pervert to come. It's also very graceful. Zixu looked over with a paralyzed face, his eyes flashing slightly. Then, the dead pervert came to the front. The dead pervert made a sound, and the voice was still so hot and gentle, so gentle that it seemed to drip out of water. This gentleman is very familiar, he is going down the mountain and wants to meet you. Zixu, what does Nima mean? If you take a closer look, Zixu has found it. This turned into a dead pervert that he also knew. The possessiveness in his eyes was still so strong, but his expression clearly didn't know him. I don't know. Ah. Grumpy. Zixu is very upset. At this moment, his eyes fell on the few people who followed the pervert. There is a very girl. Yanfu is not shallow. As expected of the former stallion protagonist, there is beauty with you wherever you go. It's so unpleasant. So, he ignored the pervert who looked very polite and kind, and turned around. Ching Tong, let's go. Sister Ching Tong squinted at the guy who was rushing to meet her star master, snorted inwardly, turned her head, and led the guards to the other side. Where is the pig brother? It's easy to chat up. This year, no one dares to swipe. We are familiar, and our star master does not know him well. Zixu left, leaving the King Kong Shan and his group behind, clearly meaning to ignore him. Seeing this scene, King Kongshan's face suddenly became extremely gloomy. His sight slowly swept across King Tong's back, and a strong killing intent suddenly rose in his heart. An eyesore. Too annoying. Want to kill her. The grimness on his face flashed, and the eyes of King Kongshan were still scorchingly staring at Zixu who walked to the other side. This person is familiar and unfamiliar. He was sure that there was no such person in his memory, but at the same time he felt that this person should be his. He should be held in his arms, held in the palm of his hand, carefully cared for, and wanton entanglement. But not. Why not? It feels so weird. The king of Kongshan has never wanted someone so much, and this person should not look at him like this. Why ignore him? Why leave? Why, not happy? He's his and his. He will take him away, trap him in his arms, keep him in a place that only he knows, swallow him and never part. Be patient. King Kongshan tried his best to hold back the tumultuous desire in his chest. He didn't want to make him angry. Yes, can't make him angry. He now should make him happy and dedicate everything to him. After finally calming down, King Kongshan's expression was gentle, and he walked over there. He quickly came behind the man he wanted to approach, but was blocked by a group of men. In an instant, King Kongshan's eyes were gloomy. There is a man who wants to stop him. Damn no, don't make him angry. King Kongshan squeezed his fingers into the flesh, calming himself down with pain. Then his expression became a little grim, and he continued to walk forward without hesitation. Finally, the king of Kongshan came to Zikshabai. He stretched out his hand and grabbed Zikshabai's arm. You! Sister Ching Tong, what the hell? The servant's dereliction of duty has caused the Star Master's jade hand to be desecrated. Guardians, once again dereliction of duty. Tat asks for forgiveness. Tat Zikshu looked at his old lover with a pale face. King Kongshan's expression instantly became extremely soft. You, don't be angry with me, okay? 3 demon kings equals mouth equals the monsters equals mouth equals meat. This is what happened. Who is that person who swallowed almost half of the demon king? Who is that person who just pinches the demon pill and listens to the noise? Who is that person who commits the deep well ice at every turn? No matter how you look at it, it's not this 250-year-old who is full of flattery and covetousness and wants to throw himself on people. And people. Not at all. Ignore him. Not to mention, he is still a man. The 3 demon kings felt that they were getting drunk. No, they may be drunk, what Nima sees is an illusion. Since I came to this auction, it's like I've traveled through it, and the demon's eyes have been blinded. The king of Kongshan didn't care what the slaves he took in his spare time thought. He was full of this handsome white-robed young man in front of him now, and he wanted to hug him immediately, give him a good kiss, and then use force into him. Unfortunately, he did not dare to act rashly. Although I don't know why, I just don't dare to act rashly. At this time, he asked gently and patiently, even if the other party still didn't answer, he was still full of desire, and then, he stretched out his hand, and grabbed the sleeve of the white-robed boy. Although the white-robed boy seems to want to escape, as long as he wants to do, how can he not do it? Of course he was still pulling steadily. The King Kongshan's eyes were full of innocence. Don't be angry, okay? I'll be unhappy if you're angry. I'll kill anyone you don't like, okay? Don't be angry. Onlookers, what a big tone. Many monsters, it's still that deep well ice. Zikshabai, this pervert thinks that brother is also a pervert? Why did Nima lose the reins after not seeing him for a few years? Speaking of which, what did this pervert have done in the past few years? Why did he murder and set fires so smoothly? Don't make a bunch of messes again and let my brother clean it up. Can you figure it out? This is not a world created by my brother. Damn, you are not the protagonist. Dare to be more prudent. Think about this guy's force value, it seems to be quite high, so let's wear it. Why is my brother not so lucky? Soul piercing is too hard. My brother was already able to fight with the dead pervert, but now he can't even hide. Is it really innocent to have an innocent face? Tell you. Brother has long known the nature of your fellow, don't try to deceive brother. Breaking a void can ruin your brain, how can you not be angry? Thousands of words are in those unwavering eyes. Zikshabai stared at the perverted death for 3 seconds, then looked down and landed on the sleeve he was pulling. The implication is obvious, let go. But the next moment, the grip tightened. King Kongshan's tone was a little aggrieved. Don't be angry. Zikshabai is angry. Don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry, do you think you are a repeater? Brother is angry. How swollen? King Kongshan was silent. Zikshabai naturally wouldn't kill him, but he was obviously helpless, and quickly fell into the eyes of the onlookers. The monsters looked at each other, although they thought it was strange, they dared not make any disrespectful remarks. It's just private voice transmission, which is still relatively rampant. Especially the three demon kings, the discussion was very intense. The Golden Ape Demon King cannot understand, what is our new king doing? Sirius Demon King is confused, are you sick? Looking for trouble for the Terran in the Terran's territory, should we give some advice and ask the king to restrain himself? That little white face in white clothes seems to be from the Shangguan family. Luohu Demon King sneered, who are you to give advice? The old lady is not going. After a moment of silence, the Sirius Demon King, I'm not going either. Golden Ape Demon King earn chi, don't go +1 Luohu Demon King, if there is a fight. Continue silence. Golden Ape Demon King, afraid. Demon King is not afraid of anything. Sirius Demon King, to be honest, the new king is not easy to mess with. As far as his appetite is concerned, how many mouthfuls does the Shangguan family have enough for him to swallow? Golden Ape Demon King, that's right. The old monster of Shangguan's family is powerful. Isn't the new king also unfathomable? Sirius Demon King, fight! It's better than shrinking back and being eaten by the new king. Although it's better not to fight. Luohu Demon King is still worried at last, look at the slave family, it may really be a fight. You say, our new king, did he really like the little white face of the Shangguan family? Golden Ape Demon King, what? Sirius Demon King, come on. It seems very blatant at first glance. My illusion of wiping has come true. The little white face has a high status in the Shangguan family and is very powerful. If King Kongshan really likes him, then Chi Kuokuo's insult is really the rhythm of the war. Speaking of which, the king of Kongshan is so good at this. If I had known, I would have chosen him all the handsome male demons from the entire Demon King star. Why? Must look at a bad one. But no matter how the Demon Kings are overturned in their hearts, the unbelievable worries are almost going to flow against the current, and things continue to develop. They saw that the little white-faced guards kept trying to get close, but they were constantly repelled by a force and couldn't get close. They saw that the little white-faced maid tried to move forward, but was always in 3 steps after that, they couldn't move. They saw that the little white face was grabbed by the sleeve of their new king and couldn't break free, but he was still expressionless. Good calm pattern. When I saw this, I suddenly felt a little admiration for that little white face. The guards are full of bullshit, we are so useless. Qing Tong's sister's eyes are sad, the son's, chastity. Kang's hand, no, the son is a man, maybe it should be moral? But whether it's chastity or chastity, the pig brother over there loves to let go of my son. So, in such a lively atmosphere, the time for the auction has come. Come on, the basic settings are still the same. For example, there must be several classes of seats in the venue. The more complicated ones are the third-class seats. There are boxes, private seats, and single seats, while the simpler ones are simply boxes and single seats or private seats. And single-seater too. This Taixuan auction is simple. Boxes and single seats. Of course, Shangwen's house where Zixubai is located has a private room, but there is only one thing left. Since he came here by himself, he has to pay for the box himself. As for the protagonist in the original book, it took a lot of thought to find a single seat, now it must be mixed in. However, just when Sister Qingtong wanted to get a box, she was blocked by a burly man. Qingtong girl rolled her eyes, what are you doing? The king of the Golden Ape laughed twice, a fierce light flashed in his eyes, I don't do anything. But don't let it go. Sister Qingtong, you can't talk to barbarians. Over there, King Kongshan said affectionately to Zixubai, Kongmu has already reserved a box, can you go there for the honor? Ziai Che Shu Bai. What the is Kong? Is your name Qi Guanrui alias Gu Xiaoshan? Brother must reject you, this ruthless fellow. However, just when Zikshabai was thinking about how to refuse to show a new posture, a new style and a new temperament, so that the dead pervert can get out of the way neatly, he found out that this fellow is not asking for anything at all his opinion. Before he could open his mouth, he was hugged by the waist and went into a certain box. The strength around the waist was like an iron hoop, and the pervert held it for 3 seconds as if reluctant to let go, before reluctantly backing back and raising, hand. Why a hand? Because the other one was still tugging on Zikshabai's sleeve. Zikshabai, let go. The bad brother is too familiar with the breath of dead perverts and forgot to resist. Brother is a reserved person, so he didn't want to refuse but welcome. It won't be misunderstood, we must break the misunderstanding. The king of Kongshan showed a very gentle smile, don't let it go. Zikshu said with a blank face, let go. King Kongshan stopped talking, but a sad expression appeared on his face, as if he was about to cry in the next second. Zikshabai, it's shameless. Fall. Besides, he really can't turn a blind eye. This pervert is just relying on this face. Nima has hacked him for thousands of years, and even after crossing his mind, he used it to hack him. I can't well, bro. Empty Mountain Demon King is very happy. He happily pulled the person aside and sat down, and began to pour tea, pour water, serve fruits and feed cakes, just asked if he wanted to massage him and then press it on the bed, no, went. Zikshu was served blankly. If it weren't for the dead pervert's broken brain, such a scene would be all too familiar. Although this is familiar even if it breaks. But these two people seem to be very accustomed to it. The monsters who came in from behind one after another and were guarded by the guards and the two girls all felt the strangeness. Especially the monsters, it's not weird at all but horror. Follow people. I can understand even a conversation. Even if the robbery men are about to go to war, they are ready. How can you be so caring, gentle and considerate? These days, even if you are chasing girls, you don't bring such diligent dog legs. Ching Tong sister, how long has it been? Star Lord, your integrity, has been broken. Is it? The king of Kongshan used to fork a piece of pastry like spiritual food adorned with spiritual fruit, and sent it to Zikshabai's mouth, with a plate in his other hand to catch it, his face full of tenderness, just didn't say ah. Zikshabai opened his mouth expressionlessly and ate it. All monsters and all guards plus two girls, I really can't understand more and more. What happened in a short period of time? Well, what about one ignoring the other? Toro is in love. Hey! 3 demon kings, but, this way, maybe there is no need to fight? Although the subordinates of both parties are heartbroken, they always remember not to lose the face of their boss/son. Although the monsters are out of fear, the guards and sisters are out of respect and love. But it's the same thing, isn't it? But they never imagined that there will be more blind people next. Yes, right after the auction has started. Scenario 1 Elder Auctioneer, everyone, please see, this source stone is a treasure, and it has a vision of heaven and earth when it is formed, which is very rare. It is an indispensable item for chi refiners of attribute exercises, and now the starting price is 500,000 low-grade spirit crystals, everyone please bid. Chi refiner A, 600,000. Chi refiner B, 800,000. Chi cultivator C, 1,200,000. Chi refiner D, 1.5 million. King Kongshan, 3 million. After Luahu Demon King was ordered to pay the fee, someone brought the source stone over. The king of Kongshan immediately held it up and sent it to Zikshabai. His voice was so gentle as if water was dripping, this thing should be useful to you. Do you like it or not? Zikshabai flicked his sleeves and accepted it. The king of Kongshan smiled even more happily, as if he had fulfilled his lifelong wish. Scenario 2 Elder Auctioneer, everyone, please see, this thing is a 10,000-year ice silkworm. If a chi cultivator who cultivates the ice attribute technique obtains it, it can be cultivated into an incarnation, which is very powerful. Now the starting price is 1 million mid-grade spirit crystals, please bid. Chi Refiner E, 1.5 million. Chi Refiner F, 3 million. Chi Refiner G, 5 million. Chi Refiner H, 8 million. King Kong Shan, 18 million. It happens to be stuck at a very high value, and the price increase will not be worth it. So, this thing was clapped by him again. Luohu Demon King gave the money, and the corners of his mouth twitched. As soon as she turned her head, she saw that the king of their family gave things to Xiobalian again, and Xiobalian flicked his sleeves and put them back, without even blinking. Still don't give a good face. All men really are beep? Scenario 3 Elder Auctioneer, everyone, please see, blah blah blah, ice attributes, the starting price is 3.2 million high-grade spirit crystals, everyone please bid. Great Influence A, 500. Great Power B, 1000. Great Power C, 2000. Great Power D, 3005. King Kong Shan, 5000. The Great Power ABCD. Where are the people who are stupid and rich? Empty Mountain Ren Duo Jian Duo De Wang didn't mind, and still sent the Ice-type treasure to Zixuebai's hands, without the slightest look of distress. Luohu Demon King bleeds in his heart, Golden Ape Demon King and Sirius Demon King also feel tight. You must know that although they are Demon Kings, so many mouths are waiting to be fed, and the demons are not as versatile as the humans, so there are not too many spirit crystals, okay? I spent so much money all at once. I was used by this ancestor to please people, it hurts. The key is that the person who is being pleased doesn't even smile. Zixuebai, blame me? My brother was born with facial paralysis. Scenes like this, one after another. When the Ice-type treasure appears for the 6th time, the 3 demon kings will have to draw it. The king of Kongshan didn't feel it, he just looked at Zixuebai affectionately, there was no other person's painful look in his eyes, only this handsome face full of, outer gods and inner house temperament. Finally, when the demon king Luohu felt that his pockets were about to be drained, Zixuebai gestured to sister Qing Tong. Qing Tong's sister understood in seconds, she immediately raised the price and pressed the immortals, and it didn't take long for her to take back 6, 7, 89 IC attribute exotic treasures for her Star Master, which cost a lot of money. Ling Jing, no pairs. The 3 demon kings breathed a sigh of relief, but suddenly, for some unknown reason, their face hurt a little bit. It seems that someone has called it. Sister Qing Tong threw a contemptuous look, these bastards. No 1/10 of the star owner is rich yet. We can take a star for the Lord of the Stars. Can the bumpkins? Can. Humph. King Kong Shan watched Sister Qing Tong hand over the next few things to Zixuebai, his eyes suddenly became extremely distorted, and a trace of grimness flashed across his eyebrows very quickly. Damn, damn! All the things this person should be given by him, this woman, how dare to do this, kill her! Kill kill! Zixuebai still pays close attention to the mental state of the dead pervert. When he saw the black air behind his back, he knew that he was going to fall ill soon. No, his eyes are full. Famous? Oops, Sister Qing Tong is in danger. Brother, hurry up and think of a way to cure the dead pervert. In an instant, Zixuebai turned his head and looked at the king of the mountain above, that was the servant of the Star Master. King Kong Shan keenly found the key point, the servant. Zixuebai, King Kong Shan's eyes are gentle, you don't need a servant, there is me. Zixuebai, are you going to be the servant of this Star Master? King Kong Shan, as long as I'm by your side, I can do anything. In the eyes of bystanders, the two looked at each other for 3 seconds. Of course they didn't know that it was the invisible radio wave that made the two have a sincere conversation during the process of looking at each other, they just thought, I wipe, this is the deepening of the relationship, are you calling? Zikshabai turned his head back, then be obedient. The moment the last radio wave, not, passed, he patted the dead pervert's hand. King Kongshan endured, I listen. Zikshabai is satisfied. Onlookers in the box, Nima really deepened her feelings, isn't this a bit too unreliable? But no matter how unreliable they feel, both sides have died down. Sister Ching Tong sighed, if you marry such a Star Master's wife, well, if this is the Star Master's wish. I will work hard. Guards, we must keep an eye on him. After basically reaching a agreement, the next thing will be logical. At least on the surface, everyone has suppressed their grief and became extremely harmonious. Zikshabai encountered a small plot here. For example, there was a hidden treasure at the auction, but the price was not high because no one knew it. It was only used as a hot spot, because there was no others bid, and before Zikshabai raised his brows, he was taken by King Kongshan and given to him. A little surprised, where did the protagonist go? Zikshabai thought about it for a while, shouldn't there be a girl from a big family who borrowed money to buy this thing for the protagonist? Actually not. He thought hard, but failed. In fact, the protagonist who should have met the girl, attracted the girl with his firm eyes and unyielding temperament, and was taken to the box by the girl, because he had a pig-headed face and quarreled with Shang Guanju all the way, although it was discovered by the girl and felt a little interesting, but it did not make the girl feel good enough. So, it becomes this scene, when that hidden treasure was brought out. Ancient punishment, this thing is a bit interesting, I want to buy it. However, if I borrow money from this dude, will I be humiliated by him? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have been impulsive and hit so hard. Shang Guanju, ha ha ha, come and borrow money, dare to beat the young master. I can't laugh to death, you slave. The next moment, the king of the empty mountain in the box, XX million. The auction elder knocked the hammer, deal. Ancient punishment, I'm sorry. Go back to the present. Although Zikshabai's face is expressionless, how could he be able to hide his concubine from his dazzling appearance? Although my brain is broken. Kongshan's eyes were a little gloomy, he slowly leaned over and said in a low voice, what are you thinking? Zikshabai, no. Don't get sick, what the is you Pete you. The king of Kongshan's voice softened, you and I are so familiar, you should be called more cordially, right? If you don't like this name, just tell me, I will listen to you. Zikshu said with a slumped face, my brother. King Kongshan froze. He suddenly felt that this title was very familiar. Is this also his lost memory? No, Shang Guanyu is a human race, and he is a demon race, how can this be? Of course he can't remember at this time. Sometimes people and snakes exchange, maybe it's not a monster becoming a human, but a human becoming a monster, just like the monster and the monster are never the same thing of. But the king of Kongshan didn't think too much, and immediately called out very sweetly, brother. Zikshabai shivered. But, well, in fact, if you listen more, it will be more pleasing to your ears. The Ching Tong girl, who has decided to adapt to her own Star Master's low aesthetics, heard this call with her excellent ear and unparalleled concentration. In an instant, her face darkened. Pete is shameless. I don't know how the 1,000-year-old old monster is so embarrassed to call us brother Star-Lord. Star-Lord, is he 28 years old? But this resentment, after all, cannot be passed on. The auction is over, Zikshabai was glued to the whole scene by King Kongshan, and from the inside to the outside. But before returning to the battleship, he had to find those two troublemakers. Zikshabai, I haven't found it yet. Guardians, my subordinates are incompetent.